Hello, hello, hello. And today on the Smooth Brain Society, we're joined by Dr. Kate Slade from Lancaster University. She is a lecturer in research and psychology, and her research explores how hearing loss, aging, and cognition intertwine. She's looking at how listening efforts show up, but not just in the brain, but in the body as well, and how these changes connect to well-being, mental health, and even health inequalities. But Kate doesn't stop at the lab. She's also a podcast host with Doctors Confess and a science comedian who's taken her research to the stage at the Bright Club and beyond. From hearing loss to punchlines, we have got a lot to explore today. So welcome, Kate.
I'm in love with you, Beth. I love that.
Stop.
Thank you. You make me sound so cool.
You are cool. And off.
And you are talking, and you're also talking from your podcast studio. So
yeah, let's call it my
professional podcaster.
Definitely your personal podcast studio.
This is my studio. I work it. No, thank you so much for having me. I've been hearing a lot about this podcast, and obviously I'm a big fan of you both. So I'm very happy to be here in my podcasting studio.
Yeah, and we're very happy to have you in our podcast studios. For those listening online, I'm doing the little bunny ear things.
Yeah, studios is stretch. Like it's a room you book in your university and my living room where I hang my t-shirt on the door. I
have commandeered my supervisor's office.
That is quite serious. That's a big deal.
Yeah, big deal. I was going to say I'm a bee knock around here.
You are.
For those that maybe are under the age of 25, that means big name on campus. I don't know if that's still going.
I doubt it, Beth. Yeah. I sadly doubt it.
That's really sad because, I am a bit B-knock. Anyway, we'll get to the research. So, Kate, when people ask you what you research or what you study, how do you explain that in kind of simple terms?
Yeah. I mean, I probably say similar to how you described me in the introduction, that I research the hearing loss that happens as we age, and then I sometimes try and describe it. So like, when you play high frequency sounds and younger people can hear them and older people can't hear them, or when you're in like a noisy environment and as you're aging, it's harder and harder to deal with those kinds of environments. That's the kind of hearing loss that I study. I'm interested in how it affects our brains and how we process like our environments. And I'm interested in how it affects our bodies and how we cope with like something I call listening effort. So the increasing demand of like listening environments that are difficult to listen in.
Yeah, very good little explanation there. So as you just said there, you kind of work at the intersection between hearing, brain, aging, and mental well-being.
Mm-hmm.
How did you kind of come up with those kind of all kind of being combined together? Because it kind of makes sense when you say it like that, but kind of putting this all together, it's lots of different kind of factors.
Yeah. Do you want my origin story?
Go on,
please. Yeah, that is exactly what I was asking for.
How long have you got?
We've got as much time as you need. I'm here for your entire origin story. If we need to sit here for 10 hours, not a problem.
It's actually not that exciting, so it won't take long. So I've always loved psychology. I've been always really interested in how people think and behave, and I've always been interested in how the brain works. And I mean, I don't know if any of you did A-level psychology or anything like that. Did either of you?
I did A-level psychology.
I did not.
And some of the research studies I'm completely fascinated with, like the taxi drivers, hippocampus study. Like, my 16, 17-year-old brain was just like, this is unbelievable. And I've always loved the topic. So studied it at university, but like my truth is that I was never, I never thought I would like go into research or be a lecturer or work at a university. I thought maybe I would go into teaching. I've always liked teaching. But I discovered a love for research in my third year when I was doing my dissertation. And it was really all thanks to people around me who told me that like I could do it and, you could go on and do research. So this is a long way of me saying like I never thought that I'd be in this space, but now here I am. And in a way, things have just like come together through maybe like luck. I don't know if I should say that. Yeah, luck, and maybe also a bit of like work as well.
You say like your hard work and
hard work.
Sorry, you personally are not hard work. You have worked hard. Just so clear that up.
So I decided to try for a PhD, and I applied. I'd been doing some research in like in my third year about how children learn to like read and write. And I was kind of interested in that, and I was interested in aphasia, and I had like sort of like a languagey kind of interest going on. And I saw this PhD project about listening effort, which is the effort that we use when we're listening in noisy situations, typically experienced by people who are older. So just tell me to stop talking if you want me to stop talking.
You can talk. Please talk more. Thank you.
Thanks. So it's like one of the biggest complaints for people with what we call age-related hearing loss, so the hearing loss that happens when we get older, that to communicate in noisy environments, which are typically the social ones, so where you want to meet friends and hang out and have social, cognitively stimulating experiences, they're the environments that are the most challenging for older adults, and for a lot of us anyway. But when you have a hearing loss on top of that, it makes those environments even more difficult. So what I was trying to do in my PhD was objectively quantify the experience of listening effort using physiological measures. So like when you invest physical effort in running, for example, which I personally don't do, but I've heard
some people like to do that.
I've heard people run and it's hard.
Yeah.
So your autonomic nervous system activates and things change. Your heart rate increases, all that kind of stuff. The same thing can happen when you invest mental effort, and that's how we see listening efforts, like a mental effort investment of cognitive resources. And we might be able to quantify that using physiological measures, so measures from the heart, so cardiac activity, to see how much effort somebody is investing in a listening environment. And if we could do that, we could incorporate that into how like hearing is even measured and tested. You could bring it into hearing aids to adjust people's algorithms to like account for their listening efforts in the real world. And that's what I was doing. So we used some measures of cardiac activity, and we could see that it responds to how much effort people are putting in different listening situations based on the difficulty of the situation, but also based on how much people want to listen. So like the motivation you have to listen to somebody. So for example, some people might be listening to this thinking, I do not have motivation to listen to Kate going on about this. I'm going to tune out. Other people will think I'm the most interesting person ever and have lots of motivation, and their nervous system is going to be activated in response to trying to perceive what I'm saying. So that's what I was doing there. And that really made me think more holistically as well about the experience of hearing loss and difficulties with listening. Because in my like introductions, I would always write like, it's really about this social aspect, this communication, and that's a really holistic experience. And it intersects with a lot of other factors that make us, human, and also let us live like really healthy lives. To be able to communicate, to participate in things, it's really important. And I don't know what the question was, Beth.
No, you were giving me your origin story.
I answered it.
You gave your origin story about how you got here, because like then you went, but then did your PhD then just carry on into kind of doing the same?
Okay, yes. So after I finished my PhD, and I basically done neck down. So I've been looking at physiological measures, neck down. I hadn't really gone neck up. I mean, the ears are neck up, but I hadn't looked at the brain. And I was really interested in doing that because I'd been reading about like neuroscientific measures of cognitive effort and attention and all this kind of stuff. And I've been reading about how hearing loss might affect the brain. And I was super interested in that. And I saw a postdoc. Should I say thank you to people, or am I just being weird now? Thank you, everyone who's helped me.
Not weird at all. You thank them away.
Thank you to my PhD supervisor. You were the best. Shout out Dr. Michael Richter.
Oh, he's he did give a talk at work. He's lovely.
Michael is honestly one of my favorite people ever. I could not have done anything without him. He made me believe in myself as a scientist. And if anybody wants to do a PhD, I recommend him.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So highly.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't listen to this. I'm embarrassed.
I'm going to email.
I was about to say, we'll clip this out, send it straight to him.
But that's all 100% true. It was the best experience. And I know that's not always the case for researchers, but I had the best PhD experience, hands down. And I loved it so much. And I learned so much. It was great. Thanks. And then I applied for this postdoc at Lancaster that I saw that was all about the neurobiology of age-related hearing loss. And I was like, oh my God, I want this so badly. I was desperate to get this position. And the principal investigator was Dr. Helen Nuttall, who is, I think I've just had like the best experiences in my life because she is also an unbelievable person. Like, I'm just like, this is what I mean about like the look of like the people I've managed to work with.
I think we just need to say like, you're a lovely person. You meet other lovely people. And I just think, when lovely people meet each other, they're like lovely, smart people meet each other, like, this is just going to work. This is going to work beautifully.
And they give me so much energy. And so, I couldn't have asked for any better experiences. And she is an amazing scientist, amazing person, amazing mentor,
amazing podcast co-host.
Amazing podcast co-host. We co-host a podcast together. She's now like one of my best friends. Well, what's that saying? Like, you're definitely my best friend. What's that saying? It's like, you're my best. I'm not your best friend. You're my best friend.
And that's okay. I'm like comfortable enough.
The project was all about understanding the neurobiology of age-related hearing loss. So using neuroscientific methods like electroencephalography, so that's EEG, when we put little sensors on the scalp and we measure the electrical activity in the brain from the neurons, which is how the brain communicates. You've probably done all this already, that your listeners know this kind of information.
No, because we've got people who've know nothing about science, and there might be some PIs, but people who've just not done EEG before. So please, we like these explanations.
So the little sensors, you stick on the head or attach the head through a very attractive swimming cap, and they measure the activity in the brain. And the post also advertised that it would involve transcranial magnetic stimulation, nice. TMS, which is a technique that you can use to stimulate the brain, and it works through electromagnetic induction. So you put like a paddle kind of looking thing on someone's head. It kind of looks like you could use it for like table tennis maybe.
Slightly smaller, but yeah.
Yeah, table tennis kind of racket.
Yeah.
Depends what brand you're going with.
Maybe a round bat.
Yeah, something like that. You pop that on to the head, and you press a little button and it delivers a magnetic pulse, which creates a magnetic field, and then through like a physics process, that creates an electric current in the brain that can actually activate the brain's neurons. And I had heard about the technique, but obviously had never done anything with it. And I remember the first time I went into Helen's lab and she showed me how it worked, and that you could stimulate the motor cortex and then see somebody's arm move because of the stimulation you delivered, and it had activated the neurons. I was like, this is sci-fi. This is amazing. I've hit the lottery with this project. I was so fascinated by it. And what's really cool is that it means you can sort of do like cause and effect research. So you can, excite brain areas or sort of disrupt them and measure the effects of that on behavior or on other neuroscientific outcomes like EEG, so the activity in the brain. So it used loads of all of these different methods to try and understand about how the brain might change after you have age-related hearing loss. So we know that hearing loss affects the ear, but obviously that means that less information goes to your brain, and that might have consequences, whether that's because your brain kind of reorganizes itself, or maybe there's like disuse of certain areas or upregulation of areas to try and cope with the demands of the new situation that you've got from the reduced like sensory input. So if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was all about that. And then COVID happened. So things didn't, pan out quite as they had expected, which meant I explored some different kind of research questions. For example, about how being isolated during the COVID pandemic might affect your hearing and your cognitive function in older and younger adults. And again, I think all these experiences kind of added to my thoughts around this area as being like very holistic. It's brain, it's body, it's mental health, it's well-being, it's loneliness, it's isolation, and the ability to hear intersects with everything.
Yeah.
So I think that all these experiences really, really added to how much I love the topic. And we did some work around like health inequalities, which is something I'm like getting, I'm really interested in. It's not like my area of expertise per se, but I'm really fascinated by it, and it's really important. There's like a massive effect of, well, I say massive effect, but that's like a scientific term, so ignore that. There's an effect of health inequality and inequalities on hearing outcomes. There's even like a north-south divide, I believe, where people in the north of the UK are more likely to experience hearing loss than those in the south. So yeah, that's the thing. So yeah.
Incredible.
Gosh, that all makes sense. And I think, like, the biggest thing is what you're basically saying is like there's not just one thing that is a driving cause of hearing loss or dementia. There's like lots of these things kind of intersect with each other. So just one thing when there's so many things affecting hearing loss.
Yeah, and this is why like collaborative research and like I love like talking to people from different disciplines or different areas, and it makes you learn something that you can get so bogged down in the details, like when you're doing your PhD or even when you're doing a postdoc, which is kind of like PhD extended, I guess.
Yeah.
You get so focused on like really detailed specifics, and you can lose sight of like the bigger kind of things, I guess.
Yeah, no, massively. Yeah.
You also speak about so many different aspects which you've been a part of, right? Like you said, neck down, neck up, and then the sort of holistic experiences.
Yeah, it might be overselling a bit, to be honest, but yeah.
But so I want to start with the more like the COVID-19 and hearing loss one. I think that's more public health related. I did not think that was even a thing that you could potentially have sort of hearing loss effects with regards to like isolation and COVID-19, but like due to isolation and things. Could you unpack that a little bit more first, and then maybe we can talk about like what happens inside next?
Yeah, I can definitely try. And probably, I mean, you two probably have a lot more insights actually into like, well, maybe you do, like the effects of like deprivation on like development and that kind of thing. So I get which you might be able to say some things that I don't know about. But yeah, the idea of the project was really to understand if changes to like communication would affect cognitive outcomes. So when I mean that, I mean like memory and thinking tests that we run typically in psychology or in other disciplines to assess parts of cognitive function. So that's like, memory, being able to hold information in your brain and manipulate it, decision making, all that kind of stuff. Also, whether that isolation might affect hearing outcomes. So if there are changes in how we're hearing information, so whether that's because, for example, I put my hand over my mouth, you have less sensory information and maybe find it harder to distinguish some of the words that I'm saying. That's probably ruined the mic thing, I don't know. But when I remove my hand, you use the visuals from lip reading to sort of put the information together. Obviously in COVID, we all wore face masks, which muffled the sound, made it hard to see people's mouths. As well as that, we moved to like more online communication. We were in our houses. It was just completely an unprecedented situation for that kind of thing. And there's some evidence that when you sort of disrupt the processing. So like maybe you occlude hearing, it can affect how it can affect the brain. So you get changes in the brain because of that. And I was wondering if that would happen during the pandemic when people's communication was completely disrupted. What did I find in that study? I don't think I found what I expected. I'll have to go back and read the abstract.
You know what? That's a real comment there, that we do so much research, we can't always fully remember what the outcome was, and that's okay.
Yeah, but I think that it was quite a positive story in the end, that, you know, they didn't have these impacts that I expected it would, and I guess that could be due to the methods that I had used. But yeah, maybe, I don't know if you know about, like, you can shed some light on this, like, deprivation or the effects of deprivation on how the brain processes information.
I've got a quick question. What part of the brain is it that where listening is? Yes.
Why are you trying to trip me up?
No, sorry. I was trying to think, because I was like, I was trying to think about another study where COVID-19, they found some loss of found atrophy, so loss of cells in certain parts of the brain, and it was the temporal area. But I couldn't, so I was like, if it's the temporal area, then maybe is that, although they think that was probably partly to do with the fact, you know, is it because the fact, like, yes, we've all been maybe isolated a bit? Is it the fact that also, you know, we lose our smell, when we get COVID as well? So there was this scare of like, oh my God, COVID is causing our brains to shrink. And it's like, it's probably more, as you said, like not like long-term deprivation, but, you know, that kind of like, you know, losing our smell, you know, we've got anosmia, which is where you can't smell due to COVID. Was it the fact that we just weren't interacting as much, you know, using our senses as much? That's a bit out there, that comment. So don't take too much away from that. More just like a speculation. I'm sorry. I think it was Dr. Duad. So please, if you're listening to this, please don't get angry at that interpretation.
Like, research is speculation, is it? So we can say the things that might be happening, and we don't know if they are or not, because there's not enough evidence yet.
But if you don't use it,
lose it. That's one of the hypotheses, isn't it? Yeah.
And there's that a big thing about the kind of, you know, the hearing and the deprivation to do with that. But maybe more long-term deprivations here might have some other comments on it.
I mean, not because I can't think of a study off the top of my head. I'm not going to say more than that. But the things which you suggest are basically true, which you see, right? I mean, the basic simple example which you can say is, if you don't work out, then your muscles sort of like lose their strength, they atrophy. The same thing sort of happens with the brain if it's deprived of functioning of those sort of things. And I guess it makes sense if you're not listening as much, you're not experiencing as many sounds, sort of that would sort of
equally
atrophy.
The brain is
very plastic.
Amazing, so I mean, this isn't necessarily a negative story. Actually, it can be quite positive, because the brain copes and reorganizes and new connections form and all that kind of stuff, which is fantastic.
Which is also probably, sorry, Kate, Karen.
No one.
No, very quickly, I was just going to say, is like, and similar to what you're talking about, Alzheimer's disease or Parkinson's disease, which I research, is like you can have cognitive and motor reserve from, you know, maybe if you exercise a lot, if you, you know, read a lot, if you're social, you know, even when you get kind of like build up of those plaques, which, you know, tau plaques, which is basically these little proteins that kind of stick onto your brain, and what they think is the main driver of Alzheimer's disease. But if you've got kind of, you know, other areas where, you know, you've been being more social,
you're building resilience,
exactly, resilience, then, you know, you're less likely to get these things. So if you start to lose some of those senses, is it you're reducing that reserve, and kind of it's making you more susceptible, I guess, to
it's like the ability to be able to engage in these reserve building activities, I guess, which is really important. We also looked at some like mental health like, I guess, predictors, like looking at depression and things, because there's links between, you know, experiencing these kinds of changes to our senses as we age and mental health factors, because we then have to cope with, you know, all this new stuff that's happening to us, and maybe not being able to go out and socialize as easily as we were able to because of the stigma around having hearing loss, or asking people to repeat themselves, or because these environments are just not built to help people with hearing loss, because they're just too noisy and there's not good like I guess, acoustics. So yeah.
Gosh, so many different aspects.
Many things.
Many things. I guess just a quick question I was going to say is like, is there a myth or misunderstanding you think people often have about hearing loss and the brain, or factors you've chatted about?
I guess something that's a current conversation at the moment is that there's a link between hearing loss as we age and cognitive decline. That has been demonstrated in epidemiological studies that have looked at like risk factors for dementia, risk factors for cognitive decline. Don't know if you've seen, or you probably have, like the Lancet article about all the lifestyle modifiable risk factors for dementia and cognitive decline. And that paper suggests that if hearing loss is a risk factor for dementia and that all hearing loss was eliminated, and I might be saying this incorrectly, I'm not an epidemiologist, so don't quote me exactly on this, is that 8% of dementia cases could be reduced or removed. But this is based on like population level data. It's not individual risk. And also we don't know if the link between hearing loss and dementia is causal. There's a hypothesis that it may be, but it also may not be. They may just both exist due to some underlying factor that we don't know yet. But there is a danger of overstating this link when we don't truly know what it is. And it can be very scary to hear that hearing loss might lead to cognitive decline. And actually, we don't know if that's the case. There's not enough evidence yet to tell us whether that is happening or not. And I think it's very important for people to know that. So just because you have hearing loss doesn't mean it's going to have any negative impact on like neurodegenerative disease, if that makes sense. And I think it's just this care that we need to take about that message. And I've been, this has like really developed my thinking thanks to some other amazing researchers who are also working in this area about how we communicate these kinds of messages, especially to the public. And as you both know, I like to talk to the public sometimes. So I want to make sure that I'm not saying things that are incorrect or not evidence-based. And that's one thing that's maybe like, I don't know if it's a misconception but just like an interesting kind of message at the moment. I don't know if I'm describing this very well.
No, I get it. I think it's very important because I guess epidemiological studies are pretty good at showing associations, but the association doesn't necessarily need to mean anything. The very famous correlation isn't causation, but because in dementia or neurodegenerative disorders, your brain or like a certain brain region is potentially atrophying, and that brain region might be related to hearing, and therefore you are seeing hearing loss, but it doesn't mean that hearing loss causes it. It could be a symptom, but hearing loss is caused from many other things, I'm assuming, as well, not just
like ototoxicity, drugs. They can damage the hair cells in your ear, lifestyle exposure to noise.
Just as you get older, I guess, as well, like that's naturally gonna well when I say that, I mean you're more, from the point you said, you're going to probably hear from a lifetime more loud sounds,
for sure.
We're going to slowly destroy that kind of is it the bottom or top of the cochlea that goes first with
oh my god yes, I think it's the baseline that's affected first, which is the high frequency area, and the cochlea is tonotopically organized, so that like
goes up like a little conch.
So that's why people, as we get older, we can't hear those higher pitch frequencies first.
Those hair cells atrophy, and once they have atrophied, they're gone. They don't regenerate in humans.
That's okay. I say these things because my when I was in my undergrad, my personal tutor was like a big hearing guy. His name was Dave Finesse. He was very lovely. He was a great personal tutor. So we had a whole module on hearing, and it was great.
Love it.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable. And I guess the question I have, like, in terms of, we won't name any businesses or name any names because I appreciate that would be slanderous. But I've seen maybe some adverts where people are taking advantage of the fact that this has kind of come out a little bit without strong evidence, being like, really important that you come get some hearing tests booked in for the price of $399.99.
You're really right, Beth, and that's I've seen that too. Maybe from suppliers of hearing aids and things like that, to say that there's this link. It's important that you get a hearing aid if you have hearing loss, and the evidence that a hearing aid would offset this possible cause is also not. There's not enough evidence to tell us that yet either, and we need more research in the area. But you're right, and it is really important that people go get their hearing checked. But the driving message, I guess, shouldn't be that that's to prevent dementia. It's more because hearing is important because it helps you thrive in life.
Yeah.
And it might be helpful to get some help with that. So yeah, you're completely right.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, just like a little bit of a controversial social take in there.
Well, when you emailed me about this podcast, you asked me for something that was like, what did you say?
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll come to that
in a bit.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Don't worry. It's good. It's a good reminder. We're kind of touching on brain regions, and you said you did TMS, or you were going to do. I don't know how much TMS you actually got to do before that project got stopped, but I'm kind of interested in knowing what you were planning to do with the TMS in terms of hearing, because even the example you gave was, somebody's motor cortex was hit and they moved their arm, but that's not necessarily hearing. So I kind of want to know what you guys were up to.
Yeah, so a very good question. So I will say that this is all based on a project that Helen got funded through the BBSRC, which is a research council. The neurobiology of aging was, age-related hearing loss, was her concept that she got funded. And she was hoping to we had some various projects in there that we were hoping to look at. So the one thing that we are currently working on, so we've come back to some of this work now that we can get back into the lab, and we've completed some research on one of these areas, is looking at whether TMS can entrain certain oscillations in the brain that may be helpful for the cognitive processes that are involved with like hearing or listening to speech and noise. So when I say like oscillations in the brain, there are certain patterns of brain activity that occur, and these can be banded into different frequency bands. I know you know this. Anyway, they can be banded into different frequency bands. So you have like alpha oscillations, beta oscillations, and these all are suggested to correspond to different processes. Alpha oscillations are supposed to correspond to things like attending. So when you attend to information, or when you are inhibiting information, the activity of these oscillations becomes more or less pronounced. But a very exciting thing that you can do with TMS is that you can deliver TMS at a specific frequency to entrain these oscillations. So you can give them like a little bit of a boost. So you could increase might not be quite the right word, but increase the level of alpha oscillatory activity in the brain, and then look at what effect that might have on somebody's performance on a speech and noise task, for example, that requires a lot of attention and inhibition of noise that you don't want to listen to, and attending to the information that you do want to listen to. So that's one thing. And I think what I also mentioned before is that you can excite and disrupt brain areas. So you can see about how the excitation of one specific brain area might have a benefit, or the disruption of a certain brain area might have a unbenefit. Be unhelpful. We were interested in that, and looking at how stimulating maybe the auditory cortex could help people with these kinds of listening kind of tasks. The work we're doing is still ongoing, and we have current ideas about what to where to take that in the future. And Helen's got some really exciting projects going on about how it might change how you adapt to like hearing aids and things like that. But I think she's going to come on the podcast, right? So I don't want to, I'll let her talk about that because, yeah, she's doing some really fascinating stuff in that area.
Nice. So basically it's like to help with hearing aids and how people kind of like almost take to them.
Yeah.
And that's so important.
That's like that's a little teaser there for you for her episode.
Ooh, okay, we'll hold off that. Okay, well, I'll ask a little bit more of a general
talk about that
to get us onto another kind of topic. So, in what ways do you think social, economic, or psychological factors play into like the hearing and kind of brain link? I know you touched on health inequalities a little bit, so maybe we're gonna more of that.
Yes, this is like really interesting. So I went to a mini conference day, and there was a person there called Dr. Dalia Simpanada, and I think she's currently at Nottingham. I could be wrong. Newcastle. I can't remember any of the cities beginning with N. But she presented this research that she had been doing. I think it was using data from the Biobank, which is like a big online data set with human data collected about various different things, one being hearing and socioeconomic factors. So when we say socioeconomic factors, we mean the factors that relate to our sort of socioeconomic position or status. So where we live, income, education, all those types of things that intersect with basically health inequality. So yeah, there's evidence that higher socioeconomic status or like longer in education, greater income, living in more affluent areas, I guess, I might be using the wrong terms here, are all related to better like hearing outcomes, whereas lower socioeconomic status is related to poorer hearing outcomes. And that might be for like various different reasons that are very complicated. As we know, research that we do with humans often includes or is biased towards a certain type of participant, like the weird population, which stands for wealthy, educated, industrialized?
Yeah, I is industrialized.
R is...
really posh.
Really
posh. D, dead posh. So yeah,
So R is for rich, not really posh.
Okay, rich and democratic.
And democratic. So W is Western.
Oh, is it? Yeah. What did I say it was?
Wealthy.
So R is.
I guess I missed R for it. Yeah. So yeah, they're the participants that typically that are overrepresented in research, basically. So we might not have a full understanding actually of how all of these things are interested in affect people who are not that population, which is important. So yeah, one of my PhD students that I co-supervise with Helen is doing some really interesting research at the moment into health inequalities and lifestyle factors and socioeconomic status and how they relate to hearing outcomes. So it's really important, and actually we don't know the mechanisms so well. There could be various ones. It may just be that these kinds of situations create an environment in which certain people are not able to prioritize their hearing health because of complete inequality, which is like very shocking, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, multiple factors. The affluent area, what's it called? The indices of social deprivation, isn't that the term? Yeah. That's the term for it, which is basically like
based on like where your postcode basically.
Based on where your postcode is, if you have hospitals or schools nearby, a police station nearby, blah blah blah.
How much like noise pollution there is in that area. Yeah.
And I mean that makes sense, right? Probably if you're in that area, you're exposed to louder noises, harsher noises. You don't have access to amenities to take care of yourself as well.
Yeah, you might not have the best access to healthcare. That's not prioritized in that way for some reason. you may be more likely to be exposed to noise through your occupation, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, because it's like it's from what you're saying, is like there's just so many different factors that kind of cause it. Is there seem to be one leading factor, or is it still like the research still ongoing via your PhD student?
Yeah, she'll find it out.
Yeah.
Come get her on.
Yeah.
I think there's been some evidence for various things. So a lot of time people collapse. So like they put a lot of different things into like an overarching socioeconomic status. So that might be made up of numerous different things that are then sort of Z-scored and like averaged out into this factor called socioeconomic status. Sometimes it's just postcode, but sometimes it also includes education or like even smoking and things like that. Which are all more prevalent in certain groups, I guess, because of inequality again.
Is there any evidence that something like substance use or smoking has any direct effect on hearing loss? Is it more just indirect that?
I think, and I'll say thinking here, is that smoking it may be ototoxic. So when I say ototoxic, it like toxic to the hair cells in the ear. And that might be the link. Same with certain drugs and things like that. They can affect those hair cells and are toxic to them. I'd have to double check whether that's, and I think that is one of the possible mechanisms by which that happens. Yeah, there's also some interesting stuff about like cardiovascular health and hearing health, like inflammation and the ability of like blood flow to the cochlea and all that kind of stuff, which is quite interesting. Yeah, she's doing some work in that area. She'd be better to tell you about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so like there's kind of, and I think we've touched on quite a few topics now, so I'm going to ask my favourite question to ask. So I want us to pretend in today's world that you have been given unlimited funding. Let's say, 20 to 30 million, whatever you want. You can do whatever you want.
Look at Kate's face.
Boards are all on holiday for, 2 weeks, so you've been given free range. What are ethics anymore? I know, like, I can see your face. Wow. What would be your, like, dream experiment to run from, now?
Wow. All the money in the world.
All the money in the world.
No ethics.
No ethics.
Some ethics.
Just like, blue sky thinking.
This is such a good question, but it's so hard. Like my brain immediately goes to something very weird.
Great.
Like a research city.
Amazing.
Like a fully immersive, like, people are trying to like move out of the lab now, like use some more real world measures and stuff like that. Like research city, you go to a city the size of Manchester and it's just a massive research lab where everyone's like connected to all different kinds of like devices and measurements are being taken, and like you go into different environments like shops or whatever. It's just a whole city and it's research town. But then I'm like, that is very dystopian.
I was about to say, isn't that basically what Elon Musk's Neuralink brain chip would do?
I don't want to be associated with that.
Listening to this, Kate's really got some great ideas for a research city. She's at Lancaster University. Hit her up.
Yeah, let me know, Elon, what you want to. We can partner up. Maybe you could.
He could chuck you a couple billion. He's got a few.
Yeah, just one measly billion.
I think we'd do it. Yeah, sure.
So maybe that's a bit far fetched, and also, but you said no ethics, so
no ethics.
And that's perfect for me and Elon and our partnership.
Yeah, and you can test, the different health inequalities. You could have like a north-south divide within this city.
Oh my god! I could manipulate socioeconomic status.
Yeah. Or we could build kind of like, this gets really unethical. Human versions of us who actually aren't human, but are they human? Because we'll get to this level of like thinking like humans and test on them.
Our data doubles.
I mean, those are called twin studies.
There is. We could do that. Yeah. Look at all the different like set divides. socioeconomic statuses, get all of the imaging equipment you could ever want.
What's that show, that movie where he realizes he's in like a massive TV show?
Truman Show.
Yeah. It's very Truman Show, isn't it? And we just like at the end, we're like, by the way, this was all a massive research study.
Thanks for helping out.
Yeah, and I to be honest, I think that's wrong. The idea is not good.
Sure. I think it sounds like a great idea. I'm joking.
So maybe something more along the lines of like, in reality, if I had all the funds in the world and there was no ethics, or maybe a bit of ethics, like a biobank times 1,000, like a huge, massive study, like lifelong study, looking at people's hearing and brain outcomes from birth until the other one.
Yeah.
And you know, really monitoring people longitudinally, like looking at like, it could tell you about detection, treatment, monitoring all like biomarkers, in an ethical biobanky way, but just bigger and way more representative. So all different types of people, you'd go to them in their communities, and you know, that kind of thing, like a huge, massive lifetime study with 10,000 participants. 100,000.
100,000 sold. You can have it. I think something on that as well, which you kind of touched on as well. I'm thinking about this because the last person we had on was a gentleman called Daniel, and he does replication studies in South America, because a lot of the studies that are done are all, you know, very, you know, westernized in terms of like Europe and America.
Yeah.
So he tries to redo them. So like if we had like 100,000, we could do it. We could take it worldwide.
Yeah, worldwide.
Yeah,
wide.
Well, worldwide.
Yeah, and I think that would be really cool. There's probably people already doing that kind of thing, maybe. But yeah, that would be amazing.
You heard it here first, though.
Yeah.
Kate.
I said it.
You did say
it. Nobody copy me.
Patented right now.
I'm going for the big bucks.
No, like patented, say that you did it first. Although I learned something very weird about patent law, that apparently for this was actually one of the guests on the podcast a while ago called Keith Sawyer. He said that patent law is actually really weird because you can challenge something by saying that it was obvious. So if you can convince the patent law that whatever idea was obvious, then you can take the patent away.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Okay.
So you just need to show that this was, because you can only patent things which are like really creative and non-obvious things. So
that's clearly an obvious invention.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I would have done it. I would have done it if I had the money. Yeah. Like this is just...
I didn't think of it. Did you watch Dragon's Den last night?
I did not watch Dragon's Den last night. No.
Well, I did, and you've reminded me of patent law through that. People are inventing very interesting things.
Yeah, it's some wild things have come out on Dragon's Den recently.
Yesterday was like smelly bananas that go in your shoes.
Interesting.
Stop your shoes from smelling. To be honest, that was one where I was like, "Are these available now?"
I'm sure my partner would love for me to get those.
Having a little look, yeah.
Yeah.
I once thought I'd invented something which was, like cans of Coke and things that once you open them, you can't close them again. I thought I'd invented a lid for those, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing! Why has nobody done this? It already exists."
Oh damn!
It's one of those things.
It's like, there's all these things you think you're inventing. Ignore that.
Tell us.
I'll tell you afterwards. Okay. Not for the podcast.
Okay.
Just remind me.
Fine. Do you want me to ask then? Okay. After that tangent, coming back to your research a little bit, Kate. Is there any, because you've been part of so many studies, is there any sort of thing which...
let's just cut that. You've been part of studies.
You've been part of studies, not so many studies.
No.
Okay. Is there anything interesting which you found in your research, like sort of anything which like jumps out at you, or did jump out at you?
Oh my god. Yeah. That's so hard, because I feel like whenever I'm doing a particular piece of research or a study, I'm like so consumed by it, and I find everything about it interesting, even when all the p-values are not significant. Oh well. But I just think, like, yeah, I'm always so fascinated and about like what the next step for each of those studies is. So I'm still super fascinated by my PhD research, and I really want to. I've got plans at the moment to sort of get back into some of that work and take it a bit forwards, with some new ideas. So I'm really interested in using like measures that could be collected in the real world, like that we have on our devices, because everyone has like a smartwatch now, and using those measures that are collected from there to integrate with like hearing aids maybe, or something like that, to kind of measure listening effort in the real world and adjust hearing aid algorithms somehow, or maybe implement those kinds of measures in the clinic. And I'm really excited about that, because in my PhD research, I found that some of these cardiovascular measures do respond reliably to changes in listening demand and the importance of listening, or your motivation to listen. So it could be really exciting actually to bring some of these things forwards, and that's something that really fascinates me. And I look. At the moment we're finishing up. We're preparing a publication based on the TMS research that I told you about, with the alpha entrainment, so trying to boost alpha activity in the brain. And we've been looking at how that might, how we might be able to do that, and how it affects different brain regions differently based on age. Again, I won't say too much, so you have to read the paper. But I find that's really fascinating, and we've got some interesting data there that might suggest that, you know, some of these techniques that we can use to boost brain activity might help or benefit certain functions that you typically wouldn't think about using brain stimulation for, I guess. So yeah, those things.
Very interesting. Well, I'll look at the paper on that one. Before, when I mentioned age, because you just really mentioned it there, like you losing your hearing as you get older, is that a misconception, would you say?
So this is when you were saying like, oh, think of something that's like a controversial statement or something. I thought of like, there's no such thing as age-related hearing loss, which I don't actually think is correct, because, you know, hearing loss does happen as we get older. But it may be that it's more like the accumulation of these lifestyle factors or noise exposure throughout your life, rather than a specific something that happens as you get older, regardless. I think this can be a misconception with a lot of age-associated conditions. I know that a lot of people think that dementia is just something that happens as you get older, which is not. It's disease. So I think it's I think that's with these things, age is a risk factor, but it may be that it's like some of these lifestyle factors that accumulate over your life course that make it so that you are more likely to experience hearing loss as you get older, or more steep. Maybe.
That's very interesting. Yeah, so it's more.
It's not very controversial at all, actually, but
no,
that's a scary thing to do.
No, I think it's like, I think a lot of people think like as you get older, you just lose your hearing, like as you know, it's just age-related hearing loss and stuff.
Yeah, and but it's definitely to do with that. But you know, there are other factors that might affect it. Yeah,
I feel selective hearing gets more common the older you get. I remember my granddad would not respond to anything for ages, and then you whisper something and you turn and be like, "Oh yeah, is that what you said?" And you'd be like, "How have you heard this?"
I think maybe that's a personality thing. He's just like, I cannot be bothered with
I can't be bothered with the rest of it. But you're talking about food now, so
interesting stuff.
That's classic grandparent style. So you mentioned before, like sometimes, you know, like when you get like, you know, no significance in p-values, you know, you're fine with it. So a lot of people I know feel quite down when that happens. Kind of what keeps you motivated, you know, when experiments, you know, might go wrong, or you might not get, you know, the result that you were hoping for. Yeah, what kind of keeps you going?
This is such a good question, because I think there's this whole thing of like, you're desperate to, because you're so passionate about something and you have a hypothesis and you believe it because you've it's evidence-based, you've done the reading, you think something's going to happen, and then when it doesn't, of course you maybe feel a bit disappointed, and there's a whole publication bias against, you know, non-significant results that they're less likely to get published. So we see significant data all the time, but that's because the non-significant data is less likely to be published. And I think the data are what the data are. My PhD supervisor and postdoc PI taught me that, it is what it is. We can't control it. We've done our rigorous research. We have our results, and this is what we found. It may be because of these reasons. It may be because of something else. In a way, it can get you to think a bit more broadly about what you've done, like question some of your methods maybe, or, think about, what the next step could be. If it's not confirming what your original thoughts were, I guess. But I always feel a bit like, oh God, wish I would have found something significant. But you're not always going to find that. I think somebody told me once that, like, out of 10 studies you do, 8 are going to have non-significant results, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
But I think a non-significant result tells you a lot, right? I think non-significant results in themselves are significant in the sense that you might be learning a lot of things, or it might be dispelling a misconception which we had about something because poor research which was significant was published before, and so you're going off that. But in reality, maybe the trend is actually non-significant. And
and we're obsessed with p-values, and maybe we shouldn't be at all. Let's go Bayesian.
As I guess as like an example, let's say, like having a cat boosts your ability, future hearing ability when you get older, and you don't find that, and it's like, oh, actually you just find it the opposite, like actually there's no significant cats have nothing to do with like hearing in any way.
And I'm sorry to tell you that, Beth.
Is that true? Is it true?
I don't know, actually. They might. Is it true that cats only meow to humans? I don't believe that.
Yeah, I think that is true. Yeah, and some of them, specifically my cat Moose, knows how to meow like a baby. He meows. It's like
Do your neighbours think you might have a child?
Yeah, I think so. Especially in the morning when he's like aggressively screaming, and then if he gets really, really frustrated, it's just a. And then it sounds like a child is like screaming.
I like how towards the end of this podcast it's just going to be Beth doing cat noises.
It's descended into sort of cat.
And to be fair, my other cat Thor didn't meow when we first got him, and I think Moose has taught him. So now he meows like. That's okay. I could do this all day, but we are here.
What other animals could you do?
I could do different types of cats. I won't, but I could. I want you to all know that I could go on for hours, but I'm saving us all.
Good,
thanks.
This laughing and communicating kind of is a very nice segue into Kate's comedy. So you're a stand-up comedian. Both of you are actually.
Yes,
Beth is as well. Yeah. You guys have done dual acts together as well.
We do have a double act, and I think we need to do it again, Beth.
It was great. I'm very much so here for it. Amy Godala is here to terrify
being
you.
interviewed. So fun, and you are as well, Sahir.
Oh, I mean, I did it once, so I mean, technically, if you stretch the thing,
it was very funny. It was very funny.
But can you talk to us about this? What got you interested in sort of like science communication, and particularly like in doing it through comedy?
Yeah, I think this is such a nice topic because I think it's something that we all love a lot. Obviously, you host a podcast together. But yeah, I've always been very shy. Like I did not ever contribute in school. If there was ever like a group project, I was not volunteering to like do any of the speaking roles, nothing like that. I had maybe like a fear of public speaking. I don't know. But when I did my PhD, I had a conversation with my supervisor. Who was like, you have to sign up for things and it will kind of force you to do it. And I ended up doing a couple of talks and things, and kind of fell in love with being able to talk about my research in a way that I could understand it in a way. Like it helped me to grasp what I was doing, to be like talking about it in a way that didn't use the terms that I'd only ever seen written down and all this kind of stuff. And I really started to enjoy it. And then when I was doing my postdoc, I did a lot of talks in the community. So going to older adult groups to talk to them about hearing and that kind of thing. And I loved that. And then I saw an advert for a year-long free in-person science communication, like mentorship program with this person, Dr. Steve Cross, who is an engagement professional. And I'd done some workshops with him in the past, and I thought that he was a great guy. And I saw that he was running this year-long science communication mentorship program. And I signed up, and then a month later, I received an email like, send in your sets. I was like, send in my set? What do you mean, send in my set? He's like, yeah, sign up for one of our stand-up comedy events and, send in your set. What are you on about? I wrote a stand-up comedy set and then went and performed it. And it's one of those out-of-body experiences where you're like, I'm just doing this now. Like, I've side-quested so hard that I'm now doing this. I have papers to write, and yet here I am painting a cochlea onto my jeans and then whipping it out.
We won't give any more context to that because you have to come see one of Kate's shows to really truly appreciate the fantasticness of it all.
Yeah, but it's one of the best things I've done, and I've always loved bringing like lightness and silliness, and I think it makes things a lot more accessible when you feel like it's okay to look a bit silly. It's okay to sound a bit silly. It's okay to ask questions that maybe seem a bit out there, or it's what you guys are doing with this. It's okay to be curious, and you don't have to know the answers. You don't have to sound, a certain way, look a certain way, be a certain type of person to do or communicate science. It's for everyone. And I feel quite passionate about that. And I think comedy is such a fun window you can open into science. Like, science is ridiculous. We may as well tell people what we're doing because what we're doing is weird.
Yeah, that's actually such a great way to put it. Yeah, and I think like just the nice thing is like saying is like you were in school, you were quite shy, and then like just push comfort zone to be like just give it a go, because it's honestly, I guess in science, in like the science and comedy world, that yes, there is like a little kind of like niche where quite a lot of people are actually involved in. It's really supportive. Like,
so supportive. People are so nice.
So nice. And people like want you to do well. Like they want to, like create events. They want you to, bounce ideas off of them. And, there's been things where, they haven't gone as planned as you wanted them to. But honestly, like, it doesn't matter. Like, people will remember the funny part, like the very funny parts. But yeah, you've only just been hilarious because you hosted an event a few months ago, and it was so good, so good.
You hosted it with me,
Amy Godala.
Oh, sorry, it wasn't you. I would recommend it to anyone. It's for confidence building, for ability to like change the way you communicate, to think about science in a different way. To make somebody excited about science through a silly story or a comedic story, I think is really powerful. And I think just having joy in life is so important.
Underrated.
It's underrated. Like, let's have a bit more joy.
Yeah. Let's combine our favourite things, the brain, and having fun. Great. Yeah. Sounds like the dream.
It's so fun. It's obviously horrible and stressful and nearly cry every time, but also fun.
It's addictive. It's like after you do it, you're like, again. Like, go through that month of, stressing. Is this going to be funny for that half an hour afterwards where I feel
elated? Yes. I mean, there's not a lot of opportunity in science that people like literally cheer you. And when it happens, you're like, wow.
Not once have I been to a conference where someone's giving like a standing ovation and laugh with you.
You go on, you tell a few jokes about whatever, and they're like, "This is clap, 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 laugh." Look at me.
Yes, I feel like I am the most amazing person for the next half hour.
Yeah, but I've had people come up to me afterwards like, I'm going to try it, I'm going to do it, or, that's really cool, I'm so glad you said that, or I'm like, I'm really glad you said that you weren't clever in school, or you weren't like the cleverest in the class or whatever. It's made me think differently about science. And I think just like open communication, authentic people in science, and just, you know, we're all daft. So let's just get up on stage and be daft.
Together.
This is true.
What made you guys want to, so you both came to science comedy recently. Can I interview you?
Of course. We're switching it up. Doctors confess. Confess why you got into science communication.
Yeah. What was your thing, Beth? Because you came up with this idea for the British Neuroscience Festival, about you know, putting on an event, a comedy event, which
so it was for the British Neuroscience Association. They had some like money available, there, and I've been working with them, and I've done quite a lot of science communication stuff and loved it. And my mum told me I was really funny, so I did get a big head on that, and I was like, you know what? Why not? You know, I'll organise it, and then I'll see if I want to get involved in it. And I was like, you know what? Why not?
I do.
Yeah. So I just thought, like, what's a good way, you know, that we can bring the brain and science together. And I actually didn't really know there was like a really big. I kind of knew a couple of like science comedians, but then with like Susanna Walker, she was like, get in touch with Kate Slade because she will also like love this. So that's when like me and you like met up, like, you know, in 2020, end of 2024, was it like October 2024? And we're like, nearly a year ago actually. Obviously like you were like, yeah, you can do this, this is how, and it was like perfect because I hadn't, you know, ran one before. And yeah, it was really good. It was like almost sold out, I think, for both the evening.
You did an amazing job. Like, what a smash for your first science comedy event.
Neuro nights, what a dream. But I genuinely couldn't do it without like everybody, like, first of all, signing up, like Kate like guiding me on like kind of where to go, and then everybody else, like Adash, Sarah, Ben, gosh, who else was in the group? I think those were the main ones, like all getting involved and, you know, putting it together. It was a very much so a group effort. But it was my baby, it was my child, it still is. I would like to do another one. I was, you just get to have fun. It's just can be as wacky as you want to. Like when my partner came to one of the events, they were like, this literally has you written all over it. I can just see it. It's just so like beautifully chaotic, but like organized chaos, but it's working so beautifully well. Like just you, and I was like, great, that is okay, as long as it works well, that's fine. But it was a very enjoyable experience. I'd like to do it again. I will do it again. I signed up to do it in November, so I am going to do it again.
Everybody come watch Beth, November.
Yeah.
In Liverpool again, or Manchester this time?
What date?
Are you going to go to it, Kate?
Yeah, I'm going to try. What day is it?
I don't know. They haven't said it yet. Do we?
What?
You know what I'm thinking?
No, you have to.
We'll advertise when we know more.
You gotta go up on your own.
Okay. No, it is good. I should do it on my own.
Yeah, and then we do a thing.
Okay, right. Okay, I'll introduce.
We do our own thing together.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I love you, and I would love to do it with you. But I think also you would be. This would be a great
way to introduce her on her own, and then see where she stands.
See what she's made of. Like, who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows? Yeah.
But yeah, you did such an amazing job, and I remember that first meeting with you online. Oh, so good. You know, when you meet someone, you're like, this is such a great person. What a great energy. Like,
Susanna said to me, she was just saying like, oh, Kate's like, I was like, you're just going to really like her. I just really know you two are going to get on incredibly well. I was like, okay. I was like, afterwards, I was like, I see what you meant, Susanna there. Yeah, good energy. Good
so nice. So nice. And you as well, Sahir, obviously.
Thank you.
But you weren't in that first one thing.
I was not.
But when I met you, I felt the same.
No, I was not. Stand-up comedy is what, like, Beth got me into it for that. I literally got a text from her being like, I need you to do something for me. I was like, what? She's like, sign up for this. I'm afraid we won't get many people signing up at that point in time. I was like, okay, cool, I'll sign up.
But we did.
And you were brilliant.
And then we got so many people by the end of it.
Yeah. It was great. It was, and your set was fantastic.
Yeah, you're amazing.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. We can talk about this after the podcast, though.
Oh yeah, sorry.
We're still recording, by the way, just saying.
Sorry, my bad.
Okay.
No. Awesome. Were there any other questions?
I don't think so. Thank you for having me. This has been really fun. It makes me, it's really nice to talk about stuff because then you get a bit of like, oh, I have done some things. I think when you asked me to do this, I was like, I don't think I've done anything. Oh, nothing to talk about.
I didn't think we could have carried on talking for like
literally
a lot longer. I've got many questions still to ask. But
yeah, this has been really, really nice. And yeah, I'll just do a disclaimer. I'm not sure if anything I said was correct. Thanks. Bye.
You've said it now, yeah.
We're ending on that. I'm stopping recording on that. Thanks everybody for listening.
Bye. Bye.